What's shaking? So, let's talk and dive a little further and expand on the last post I did. Let's just be very real. Nowhere in the Bible did God lay out instructions on how to love your neighbor, because he already told you how to do that. So, when we aren't actively loving ourselves with the correct actions, then that's how we'll step out of the house loving other people. So I want to share a story with you all from my actual personal life, where I was given a chance to see the difference in loving someone from a conscious and aware state versus I love them. So when I was a little girl, we lived with my grandmother. Many of you guys have heard me talk about Emma. Most of y'all are like, I would love to have met Emma. I know. I would love to still have her. I mean, I do. She's always with me. But I mean, physically in this realm, I would love to still have her. But when I was a little girl, and I'll never forget how old I was when this happened, because I had been in school for a few years. I was 4, getting ready to turn 5. No, I'd actually just turned 5. This was also around the time my biological mother started being herself again instead of walking around in her mask. And what I mean by that is when she was pregnant, she had her butt at home. She was playing the good Christian daughter and all of these other roles. But that's not who she was. So it wasn't long after I got in school, original her, OG Pam, came back. Well, growing up, my grandmother had a rule about her home. My home is open to you, but my home has rules, meaning when my door locks at night, everyone should be in. If you're not, I'll see you when it unlocks in the morning after I've done my morning devotion, and whatever time that is, I step out to get the morning paper. I can get down with that rule, but Pam couldn't. Pam liked to use but you're my mom, but you've got my daughter, but you're being abusive because you're not doing what I want you to do, even though what she might want you to do wasn't helping you in the least little bit, and in the end wasn't helping her either because she wasn't learning nothing. What's going on, Miss Diane? Good morning, afternoon. Look, I don't even know what damn time it is. I've been dealing with people overseas and everywhere today. But anyways, as she was out and about running the streets, doing her thing, she decided she, was going to do whatever this one night. And she had called the house earlier that day. And my grandmother made it real clear. Pam, when my door locks tonight, I don't really care what the excuse is. I don't care who made you do it. I don't care. My door is staying locked. I'm not dealing with you and your bull. Plain and simple. Be home for the door locks or don't. Either way, I'll be fine. Now, me being the child I was, don't like my mom now. Even though at the age of 3, me and my mom had already come to terms with she was my biggest bully. My grandmother had to always save me from her and was always leveling me up out of my emotions so I could keep it moving. Yeah, at the age of 3, you heard me. So on this particular night, after she was well informed, she decided to do what she did. It was about 11 o'clock at night, and the way my grandmother's house was laid out, her bedroom was on the front of the house. So when you came up onto the porch, she had those old school slat windows, so you could roll them out, and they had the slats. Well, it was warm out. Gran had the window open that night. Here she is banging on the window, screaming, yelling, "You let me in! Let me in! I can't believe you're abusing me like this!" I mean, just being that person, right? Waking up the neighborhood. No, we also had a glider on our front porch. My grandma didn't flinch. Now, at that age, I loved sleeping with her, and I could hear the whole debacle, right? I'm laying beside her, bawling. I'm just like, I can't believe you're not going to let her in. Why would you do this to her, right? I am literally doing this, right? But I don't say nothing. 2 nights later, actually, okay, let me back up. So the next day, Gran's out in the garden doing whatever. Somebody stops by, which was normal. And they're like, "Hey, Sister Emma." Da-da-da-da-da. Somebody we went to church with and was a neighbor. They want to talk about Pam being on the porch. She's steady gardening. She ain't missing a beat. And they said to her, they were like, Sister Emma, was everything okay last night? I heard Pam out there and da-da-da. She said, yeah, did you hear me? They said, no. She said, then what made you think something wasn't okay? Sister Emma, I can't believe you would just let her be out there screaming. She said, she a grown adult. How am I going to let her do anything? She know what time this house lock up? Continuing to garden, not getting emotional, nothing. I can feel myself crying. Like, I'm starting to cry on the inside because I'm like, I still can't believe you did that, Gran. Now, this woman continues to go on and on and on. My grandmother looks at her and because the last thing that woman said before my grandmother abruptly finally changed the subject was, Sister Emma, I cannot believe that you dealt with Pam in that way. And my grandmother looked at her stone cold and said, don't you have high blood pressure? She said, yeah. She said, oh, so you would probably be dead then because you would choose to do the loving thing, right? I didn't really know what to say when I heard her say that to that woman. I kind of was like, what? Fast forward. 2 nights later, we at the same damn crossroad. Here's Pam again beating on that door. Oh, Mama, let me in. Mama, you knew I was on my way. And at this point, it's like a midnight night, okay? You wasn't on your way. Gran locked the house up at 8 o'clock that night. She told you at 6 p.m. you wasn't getting in if you wasn't home by 8. Plain and simple. You didn't have a key for a reason, Pam. Me being me, I'm in bed with Gran. I hear this and I'm like, Gran! I pipe up now. Gran, you gotta let Mom in. Come on, Gran. Because I've heard all the neighbors talking about, we saw Pam sleeping on the porch. We saw this. I felt bad for her that she was seen this way. I felt bad that people are talking bad about my mom. Choices that she made, mind you. Okay. So as I'm going on and on and on, oh, Gran, let her in. My grandmother sat straight up in bed. She said, you know what, Erica? Look me in my eyes. Is that your choice tonight? You want to let your mother in? Yes, ma'am, let her in. Good. Go unlock the door. And everything that falls out is on you. If she starts that mess and y'all get into it, that's on you. You are going to sit in whatever consequence comes. Do you understand me? Yes, I'm going to get my mom. I let her in. It wasn't 30 minutes. Nobody in the house slept. Why? Because she was chaos, and not a good chaos, because hell, me sitting here talking is chaos. But there's good chaos and there's unnecessary bullshit. Well, Pam was unnecessary bullshit. That was the spectrum she operated on. And here was the whole house awake. Here I am being yelled at for no fucking reason. All kinds of things, right? So the next morning at breakfast, my grandmother looked at me and she said, Erica, there is a time and a place, and just because I don't do what someone wants me to do does not mean I don't love them. But did you see what happened when we did what you wanted to do because of a feeling of love? What did you learn? I was like, I learned that from now on, just give me my headphones if I wake up and she crying, because shit, that ain't worth it. That's what I learned. My grandmother didn't not love my mom. My grandmother understood. Showing up and giving her everything she wanted just because she wanted it, wasn't ever going to benefit or serve anyone's highest good, especially my grandmother's. And as I sit here as an adult, even as a kid, I don't blame her for letting Pam sit out there. You know why? Pam knew. It wasn't like she was unaware of what the consequences were going to be to her actions. She knew. She made a choice. So I'm here to remind you, you can love them as much as you want. But if you loving them without discernment, like I was loving my mom at 5 without discernment, you cannot be upset when they come in and trample all over your shit, okay? Plain and simple. Because it's our job to discern what is supposed to be in our court and our presence. Just because you don't allow it there doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you unloving. What it makes you is aware and considerate of yourself. Because if you don't know how to consider yourself and make healthy choices, how the hell are you going to make considerate choices for someone else? You can't. It's the falsity that you keep telling yourself. So I hope that today we all take a moment to assess where we be showing up and how we be showing up. Because if you are making choices out of, I love them and I just don't want to feel this way anymore, that's desperation. And it's going to come back to bite you in the ass.